Hare Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All Krishna Shri Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to today's class. This morning we will be discussing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 6, verse 29. And the chapter is entitled The Glories of Sri Advaita Ācārya. We are in the middle of the discussion where Advaita Ācārya is being glorified for the services that he has done and is still doing. And we're very happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and Srila Prabhupada.
Haribo. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaj. Loud and clear. Perfect.
Good. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrindam bhakti-upadeśa vinu tāṅra nāhi kārya ataeva nāma haila Advaita Ācārya. Since he has no other occupation than to teach devotional service, his name is Advaita Ācārya. Text 30. Vaishnaver Guru Tenho Jagater Arya Duinama Milene Haila Advaita Ācārya. He is the spiritual master of all of the devotees and the most revered personality in the world. By a combination of these two names, he is Advaita Ācārya. Sri Advaita Ācārya is the prime spiritual master for all Vaishnavas, and he is worshipable by all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas must follow in the footsteps of Advaita Ācārya, for by doing so, one can actually engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Text 31. Kamala Nahanira Tenho Yata Anga Amsa Kamala Laksha Karidari Nama Avatamsa. Since he is a limb or part of the lotus-eyed Supreme Lord, he also bears the name Kamala Aksha. Ishvara Sarupapaya Parisadagana Chaturbhuja Pita Vasa Yache Narayana. His associates have the same bodily features as the Lord. Move the translation a little bit. They all have 4 arms and are dressed in yellow garments like Narayan. Text 33. Advaita Ācārya Ishvareya Amsavarya Tanra Tattva Nama Guna Sakali Ācārya. Sri Advaita Ācārya is the principal limb of the Supreme Lord. His truths, names, and attributes are all wonderful. Yanhara Tulasi Jale Tanhara Hunkare Swagana Sahita Chaitanyera Avatare. He worshipped Krishna with tulsi leaves in the waters of the Ganga and called for him in a loud voice. Thus, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on earth, accompanied by his personal associates. Yanra Dwara Kaila Prabha Kirtana Prachar Yaha Dwara Kala Prabha Jagat Nistar. It is through him, Advaita Ācārya, that Lord Chaitanya spread the Sankirtan movement, and through him that he delivered the world. Acharya Goshanira Guna Mahima Apara Jiva Kirta Kotaya Pah Beka Tara Para. The glory of attributes of Advaita Ācārya are unlimited. How can the significant living entities fathom them? Acārya Goshani Chaitanyera Mukha Ange in Anga Ara Eka Anga Tara Prabhu Nityananda. Sri Advaita Ācārya is the principal limb of Lord Chaitanya. Another limb of the Lord is Nityananda Prabhu. Prabhu Upanga Shivasari Bhaktagana Hasta Mukha Netra Anga Chakra Dhyastra Sama. The devotees headed by Srivas are his smaller limbs. They are like his hands, face, and eyes, and his disc and other weapons. E Sabda Lai Chaitanya Prabhu Vihar. E Sabda Lai Karena Vanchita Prachar. With all of them, Lord Chaitanya performed his pastimes, and with them he spread his mission. Madhavendra Puri, go back to the, Madhavendra Purira Iho Shishya E Jane, Acārya Gosanera Prabhu Guru Kara Mane. Thinking he, Sri Advaita Ācārya, is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, Lord Chaitanya obeys him, respecting him as his spiritual master. Purport. Sri Madhavendra Puri is one of the Acharyas in the disciplic succession from Madhavacārya. Madhavendra Puri had two principal disciples, Ishvara Puri and Sri Advaita Ācārya Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu. Therefore, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya is a disciplic succession from Madhavendra Puri. From Madhavacārya. This fact has been accepted by authorized books known as Gaura Gonadesha, Deepikam, and Prameya Ratnavali, as well as by Gopal Guru Goswami. The Gaura Gonadesh Deepika 22 clearly states the disciplic succession of the Gaudiya Vaishnava as follows. Lord Brahma is the direct disciple of Vishnu, the Lord of the spiritual sky. His disciple is Narada, and Narada's disciple is Vyas. Vyas' disciples are Sukadeva Goswami and Madhavacārya. Padmanabhya Acārya is a disciple of Madhavacārya, and Narahari is the disciple of Padmanabhya Acārya. Madhava is the disciple of Narahari. Akshobhya is a direct disciple of Madhava, and Jayatirtha is the disciple of Mahanidhi, and Rajendra is the disciple of Vidyanidhi. Jayadharma is the disciple of Rajendra. Purushottam is the disciple of Jayadharma. Srimad Lakshmipati is the disciple of Vyasatirtha, who is the disciple of Purushottam. And Madhavendra Puri is the disciple of Lakshmipati, who is also known as Lakshmipati Tirtha. Om Agyan Timirandasya Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militem Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimakte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Paschatya Tesatarine Panchakalpatarubhischa Vipa Sindhupe Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, although Sri Madhavendra Puri is mentioned as one of the acharyas in the disciplic succession, He became the grand spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His disciple was Ishwara Puri, who was Lord Chaitanya's adopted spiritual master. Of course, Lord Chaitanya doesn't need a spiritual master. He is the spiritual master of all the spiritual masters. But in his Lila, as a devotee of the Lord, he accepted the position of a disciple. Here, it's mentioned Madhavendra Puri came from the Madhva Ācārya Sampradaya. We are also, as Vaishnavas, in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is also connected with the Madhvacharya Sampradaya. So we are the Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. We include Madhvacharya because of Madhavendra Puri's appearance in that disciplic succession. Madhavendra Puri was not a small person. In fact, his greatness cannot be described. He is actually, in the Gonadeshtipika, describes Madhavendra Puri as a kalpavriksha tree in the spiritual world. That means he's an eternal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who appeared to take the role as the grand spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Madhavendra Puri's life is quite interesting. And he had two disciples, as is mentioned here, Ishwara Puri and Sri Advaita Prabhu. He also had another disciple that we mentioned sometimes, whose name was Ramachandra Puri. We'll talk about him. But Ishwara Puri was a very dedicated disciple of his spiritual master. And when Madhavendra Puri was so old that he could not even maintain his bodily needs by himself, Ishwara Puri assisted him. And because of the humble menial service he performed to his spiritual master, he was blessed by the spiritual master. Now, here is the key to success in spiritual life, to get the blessings of the spiritual master. And if one does an outstanding service, one receives what we say innumerable blessings from the spiritual master. And that situates one nicely in the process of devotional service, where they make a rapid advancement back home and back to Godhead. And that was Ishwara Puri. When Lord Chaitanya met Ishwara Puri at Gaya, before them he was a Nimai Pandit, and he came to Gaya to find a spiritual master. There's a beautiful story how he met Ishwara Puri and how he was so attracted to Ishwara Puri. And at the same time, it's interesting that Ishwara Puri was very much attracted to Lord Chaitanya, not knowing he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And a beautiful exchange. And of course, Lord Chaitanya, in his prayers to Ishwara Puri, describes him in so many glorious and wonderful ways. That's mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, not so much in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Advaita Ācārya, her Sri Advaita Prabhu, was also, he appeared 52 years before Lord Chaitanya. He was quite elderly when Lord Chaitanya appeared. He's also a member of the disciplic succession, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. He is also Vishnu Tattva, although he appears in this world as a highly educated Brahmana who lived in Shantipur, had a beautiful wife named Sita Devi, and many sons. He had 6 sons. 3 of them became Vaishnavas, such as Achyutananda. Let me see, what was the other ones? Gopal and one more. And three of them actually didn't follow the path of their father and became impersonalists. It's interesting that the Supreme Lord himself fathered three sons who became impersonalists. It's interesting. You would think, coming from that, line, they would also be like their father. But you see the nature of the material world as people also deviate, even though they have great lineage. We have the example of Krishna's son, Boma. Boma was a great devotee of the Lord. He was born from the union of Mother Earth and Varahadev. When Varahadev picked up the earth, he impregnated that earth with the son whose name was Boma. And Boma was actually directly the son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he got into a bad association with one demon named Naraka and became demoniac, so much so that you can read in the Krishna book how Krishna killed his own son, Boma. Oh, that was interesting. You see that just because one is born in a certain family, of course, that allows one to grow according to that family, but not always. We have the example in the opposite way where Prahlad Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, but became a pure devotee of the Lord, a Mahabhagavat, actually. So, although birth is an advantage in a Brahmin family, in a Vaishnav family, still the soul has independence and sometimes will go off and become even opposite of the pure teachings that they are born into. And that happened with Advaita Ācārya. He had 6 sons, 3 became, what they say, 3 became Sara, and 3 became Asara. Asara means useless, Sara means very brilliant, beneficial, enriched. So here we get a little bit of information here. Now, Madhavendra Puri, when he was getting old, he had another disciple whose name was Ramachandra Puri. Ramachandra Puri really didn't understand his guru so much. And Madhavendra Puri, in his last days, was in ecstasy, thinking of Krishna, and he was shedding tears and exhibiting so many ecstatic symptoms of separation from Krishna. And he was crying, and Ramachandra Puri would notice this. And he said to his spiritual master, just meditate on Brahman and be peaceful. Can you imagine saying that to a person who is in ecstasy of separation from Krishna? And Madhavendra Puri got angry. He said, I am here about to leave the world, and now I have to see your offensive face. So get out of my association. So he tried to instruct his spiritual master. It's not very, in fact, it's against the principles for a disciple to instruct the spiritual master. It's considered to be an offense. And so he actually committed a great offense, and he was thrown away, and he lost his position. And then, although now he had been condemned by his spiritual master, later on, he was associating with the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, the followers of Lord Chaitanya. And he would have the habit of serving prasadam to them. And then he would grab the prasadam containers and serve the devotees. And he would encourage them, eat more, eat more, eat more. And then when they would eat more, he would say, just see, look, the devotees of Lord Chaitanya, they eat too much. And then after criticizing devotees, he found fault with Lord Chaitanya. And he saw sometime in Lord Chaitanya's room, he saw some ants on the floor crawling around. And he said, oh, just see, this what did he call him? Chaitanya. Just see, at night, when everyone is sleeping in the middle of the night, he sneaks and he eats sweets. And all of these ants are proven because, he drops these crumbs of sweets and the ants are here. Prabhupada, when he talks about this particular pastimes, he said, in India, everywhere you find ants. It doesn't mean that somebody dropped sweets. But, this was his criticism. And Lord Chaitanya, he also criticized Lord Chaitanya for eating too much. And then Lord Chaitanya, seeing that he was the disciple of he was a god brother, he was the god brother of his spiritual master, Ishwara Puri, and a disciple of his grand spiritual master, he accepted the criticism and cut his eating in half. When the devotees who were followers of Lord Chaitanya saw what was happening, because they would like to always offer prasadam to Lord Chaitanya as their service to him, as their love for him, they became really unhappy. So Lord Chaitanya accepted the criticism and said, oh, well, he's actually right. Sannyasis shouldn't eat so much. But the devotees weren't happy. And after some time, he left the area and never came back. So here we see Ishwara Puri, he got the benediction of becoming the spiritual master of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his humble service and pleasing his spiritual master. He was blessed. And we see the opposite, where one criticizes, finds fault with their spiritual master, their spiritual life is finished, and then they go around finding fault with others. They develop this fault-finding mentality, and after a while, they lose any position they have in spiritual life. And then they have to take birth and suffer again. So this is in Madhavendra Puri. It says he taught these principles that when one pleases the spiritual master, one's path to devotional service becomes glorious, wide open. And one criticizes, offends the spiritual master, then in Shrama Eva Hi Kevalam, everything they do is a useless waste of time. They get no benefit, and they are winding up we see that even in our ISKCON societies, those who found fault with Srila Prabhupada, they're no longer within the society. And although they were disciples, still they found fault with their spiritual master, and then after some time, they're gone. So yeah, this is a very important lesson. One should be very diligent always to try to please the spiritual master by one's devotional service and not cause discomfort or difficulties to the spiritual master. What pleases the spiritual master the most? If one is accepting his instructions and making advancement accordingly by chanting the holy names of the Lord, and especially developing the service attitudes towards all other Vaishnavas and all other people in general, a mood of service. Okay, so we can stop here, and we can open it up for questions. I have about 40 minutes for questions, and then I have to go on to another program.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this wonderful class. Really amazing points. And we will definitely keep in within the 40-minute range. If devotees have any questions, please, do raise your hand so I can call you in the order. And I'll put it in the chat and I'll be happy. I'll go to Himanshi, then I'll come to you, Sri Devi. Himanshi, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. My question is, Guru Maharaj, just the way you told that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very humbly accepted the criticism that okay, sannyasi should eat less, and the disciples were really unhappy because of that. So sometimes the situation happens with me also, that if someone is saying anything about my Guru, Prabhupada or ISKCON or Krishna, so what should be our response for that?
If someone is criticizing your spiritual master, you should defeat him. You should not tolerate that. If you tolerate, you also become implicated in the same reactions that they're getting. If you know your spiritual master is being criticized by somebody, you should speak to them and straighten them out by logic, reason, and argument. If you can't do it, you should arrange for someone to do it. It's the duty of the disciple to defend the spiritual master in all cases. Even if someone comes and defeats your spiritual master in an argument, you should defeat that person.
Very nice question, Himanshi. Thank you so much. Sri Devi, you're next.
Is that okay, Himanshi?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. I have one more question. May I ask, if you allow?
We'll come back
Yes.
to you, but I wanted to see what your response is to my answer.
Yes,
Because
Guru Maharaj.
it's very
Yes.
important that we react when our spiritual master is being criticized or offended. We have to react. To remain silent means we are going along with that person's statements.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. I will try to do that. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Himanshi.
We'll
Sri
come
Devi,
back.
you're next.
Yeah, Guru Maharaj, please obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for speaking on this extremely important topic of Guru Aparadh. I was thinking as you were speaking, Guru Maharaj, sometimes we are very duplicitous. In front of the Guru, we are all fawning all over and doing nice service and, rushing around as though, we are doing something great. But on the other hand, when the Guru is not around or has gone somewhere traveling, I do all kinds of things, harass devotees, maltreat them, do all kinds. But in front of my Guru, I put on a very good act. So is that Guru Aparadh as well as Vaishnava Aparadh, or it's only Vaishnava Aparadh?
It's duplicity. It's hypocrisy. It's one of the offenses to Guru. There are 5 ways that you can offend the Guru: duplicity, hypocrisy, familiarity, disobedience, and one more. Faithlessness, unfaithfulness. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not a real disciple if you're acting like that.
But, okay, I won't say anything more. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. I don't believe you. I think you're using that as an example, right?
I can sense between
Oh,
her
well,
lines,
Guru Maharaj,
Maharaj.
you know me. You know me in and out, Guru Maharaj. What can I hide from you? You know how duplicitous, cunning, everything that I am. What can I say?
Stop it.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes.
Thank you. Really, really nice question, Sri Devi, because it's a common practice, unfortunately, not practice, it's a common behavior. Yes, yes, a very nice question. And Marge, I came across your lecture online and I'm making the points and I didn't finish half the lecture, but you gave a lecture, the 5 disqualification of a disciple.
Yeah, I
And
just
I got
mentioned.
to, yeah, I was trying to listen, but I couldn't stop and take notes. So I said, okay, I got to come back and hear this again. Very powerful class, Maharaj. I could only get to the very, very powerful points.
Yeah, it's mentioned in the 6th canto when Indra offended Brihaspati by not recognizing, honoring his appearance when Indra was sitting and being honored by his followers. And Brihaspati noted that and left. And then it mentions later that in one purport, these are 5 ways that one can be a insincere disciple.
I am going to continue that lecture and make my notes, Marge. Very powerful class. Thank you so much. Marge,
The point is, why accept a spiritual master in the first place if you can't follow him or you're finding faults in him? Maybe before you even take that step into the discipleship, you should be completely clear that this is the path you want to follow, and this is the person that will bring you to that path. You shouldn't have any doubts at that point. You shouldn't take a spiritual master surreptitiously or whimsically, or just to become a member of a particular organization. It's the most serious thing you can do in your life, because then it's a matter of strictly following those instructions, and the spiritual master's instructions are Krishna's instructions. They're not his own instructions. He gets this inspiration from Krishna to guide his disciples accordingly. So one should observe, as Prabhupada says, and it's written in Hari Bhakti Vilas, one should observe the spiritual master for at least 1 year, minimum, and the disciple should also, and the spiritual master should also observe the disciple for at least 1 year. And when one is convinced beyond doubt that this is the path and this is the person who can bring me to that path, then the next step is to accept initiation. Not like, oh, I just met, just like one time some people came to Prabhupada, they met Prabhupada. This was in India, somewhere it was in Mumbai. And there was a little small group, 2 or 3 people, and they really liked Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was talking to them, and it was a nice conversation. They were very friendly. And they said, oh, can you accept us as your disciple? We want to become your disciple. Prabhupada said, those who come easy will go easy. Those who come easy will go easy. So it's almost like when you're going to get married, you don't just take the first partner available. You want to find that partner who you feel that this is your life partner, at least in a marriage. You're buying a house, you don't just pick the first house in other words, when you make an important decision in your life, you consider it and you review all options available. Take some time, you question. You try to understand more before you make the next step. Because once you make this next step, there's no turning back. Turning back means falling away.
Really powerful points, Marge.
Yeah.
Those who come easy, they go back easy. Wow.
Yeah, they leave easy.
They leave easy. That's powerful. Really powerful. You asked a very powerful question, Sri Devi. God is thinking here. Thank you. Himanshu, you had a question. we can go to you, and then I'll go to Parijata's question in the chat.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. I have just the same question, Guru Maharaj. Like, when Mahaprabhu accept the criticism very nicely, very easily, being a sannyasi, being the supreme personality of Godhead, and when it comes to me, especially, accepting criticism is a very big thing. Like, how they can say this? Sometimes
I,
they are
I
right.
don't think you can align those two examples because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relationship with Ramachandra Puri was like a spiritual master. One sees the spiritual master, the god brothers of one spiritual master as good as one spiritual master. So that's how Lord Chaitanya was following that understanding. God brother, he's the god brother of my spiritual master. He's as good as my spiritual master. Although he was finding fault, still Lord Chaitanya accepted him in that position and followed what he said. Your case is different. So if someone is criticizing you, listen to what they say and see if there's any value in it. And if there is, there may be some opportunity to improve. Many times people say things that some of it is beneficial, some of it is just their criticism. You have to kind of understand it and not take it as an offense, take it as an opportunity to understand, well, how can I benefit from this situation? I can learn something. I can develop more of the qualities of a Vaishnava. I can become more dependent on Krishna. But if it's just vicious lies, then we distance themselves from such persons. That's a different thing.
Did that help, Himanshi?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Mars, there's a question here in the chat from Parijata. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Your Holiness. I have two questions, please. And the question number one is, in today's spiritual culture where charisma often replaces lineage, what corrective lessons does this purport offer?
You mean my explanation of the purport?
Is Parijata on? Parijata, can you answer that if it's
Where charisma replaces what?
lineage?
Lineage. Well, charisma comes from the word karshana, I think, which actually comes from the word Krishna or Krishna. So charisma actually comes from the word Krishna, which means all attractive, something that is very attractive. And that's Krishna. If a person is replacing lineage, I don't know what they mean by lineage. In other words, they don't have the qualifications of a guru, but they are very charismatic. Is that what she's saying?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Then you have to see what they're saying. If they're following what's in guru disciple, in other words, there are people who are like that. They're kind of what they call it, innovative. What is the word? They come up with new ideas on how to do this.
Innovative, Maharaj? Is that what you meant?
Innovative, yeah, innovative. That is also a sign of preaching, according to time, place, and circumstances, but it also could be against the principles of execution bhakti. Like in New Vrindavan, it was said that, well, it takes about 2 hours to chant 16 rounds. So instead of counting 16 rounds, let's just chant for 2 hours. So that was some idea. And some people went along with it, others didn't. Manasi Japa became also part of the thing where instead of chanting audibly, chant silently in your mind. Now that's also mentioned in the Vedas as being a form of japa, but that's a very high stage bhakti for only for, self-realized souls who will constantly chant within their minds. Srila Prabhupada said, chant loudly. One of even Prabhupada's godbrother, who was it? Krishna Das Kaviraj, no, not Krishna. Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj. A lot of times he would chant silently. But Prabhupada instructed his disciples to chant audibly, loudly, where they can hear. It could be soft, but it has to be audible. Audible where the sound can be picked up by the ear. So there are people who like to take certain statements out of the Shastras and somehow or other adjust things to make it seem new or better. But one should follow one's spiritual master. And if the spiritual master is not following his spiritual master or is deviated from the disciplic succession, then, as Narahari Chakravarti talks about that, then one should approach the spiritual master in a secluded place and very humbly question him on his activities. Humbly, with a desire to understand like that. So it's called, what is that scripture? It's 59 pages. It's called Bhajana something. You know that one, Sri Devi? Bhajana something.
Bhajana Rahasya, Maharaj?
No, that's
No.
another one. Bhajana Rahasya is, I think, that's by Bhakti-upadeśa Thakur.
Yeah.
This is Narahari Chakravarti. And it's a very short text. I actually have a copy of it. It's only about 59 pages. And it talks about if the spiritual master goes off, instead of rejecting him, one should question him humbly. And if he cannot come up to the standard for whatever reason, and it's obvious, then one can reject one's spiritual master. If the spiritual master says, well, you don't have to follow the 4 regulative principles because in this age it's too difficult, then they're deviating from Srila Prabhupada, who has emphasized over and over again the importance of the 4 regulative principles and how one should follow them with details in terms of all of the principles. And Prabhupada explained how to follow each one of those 4 regulative principles in his lectures and especially in his books also. So if someone says, we don't have to follow 4 regulative principles, we can follow 3, and then the other one we can adjust according to what is current in today's materialistic world. And then that is a deviation, and the spiritual master should be questioned on that. That's
Thank
an
you.
example.
Sorry, Maharaj.
That's an example.
Maharaj, sorry.
You don't have to chant 16 rounds. You can chant, 2 hours. Another deviation. Big one.
New Vrindavan had some interesting stuff, right, Maharaj, in the old days?
Well, there's two ways you learn. You learn by what is you're supposed to do, and you learn by what you're not supposed to do. Somehow or other, you should learn, though. That's the point. So in one sense, although it was a deviation, it was a detour, a big detour away from pure devotional service, there was lessons to be learned. And as long as there was still Srila Prabhupada's disciples on the planet, things came back to the standard. What is really dangerous is when all of Prabhupada's disciples leave the planet. Then though the disciples of the disciples have to keep in line with their spiritual masters. Otherwise, they didn't hear from Prabhupada directly. So they can also make up and do sometimes ideas which are deviations, which are sometimes appears to be okay, but actually in the long run, it's a break from the tradition. And there are many examples.
And Maharaj, that is one of my biggest fear, Maharaj, is what you just mentioned, the last point. When all of Prabhupada disciples are no longer on the planet and it's on the second generation to carry the torch in the right way. Bhakti Swami mentioned that, and it's been my concern for a long time.
Yeah, it's the duty of the spiritual master to train their disciples, and it's the duty of the disciples to take the training. Not just chant Hare Krishna and then think that's all I need to do. No. You have to learn what is the process and how to apply the knowledge.
Thank you, Maharaj. That's a part 2 to her question, and then I'll come to you, Sri Devi. As what dangers arise when devotional? I think you mentioned this, but I'll just do it again, Maharaj. What dangers arise when devotional movements neglect or blur their disciplic succession?
There's so many asapradayas, ideas, things that are against pure devotional service enter into easy. And it says, and this is a historical fact, when the pure devotee leaves the planet, then Maya rushes in to bring in all kinds of other things. And that happened even when Prabhupada left. And still we're fighting today to reestablish Prabhupada's principles. Yeah. So yeah, that's why we have to read his books, discuss his books.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sri Devi, you're next.
I just wanted to say, I looked it up real quick. It is Sri Krishna Bhajanamritam, dealing specifically with controversies regarding Guru-disciple relationship. Is that the one, Guru Maharaj? Narhari Sarkar Thakur?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, I looked it up. I didn't know it.
Sri
I have a further...
What's the name of it? Sri Bhajana?
Bhajanamritam. Sri Krishna Bhajan Amritam.
Yeah, Amritam, yeah. Very short text.
Sri Devi, you said you had a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Guru Maharaj, you were speaking about this important subject again, that sometimes the Guru will deviate, or Guru may have some difficulties, challenges in his spiritual life and go off. But it's a very distressing time for both Guru and disciple. So under those circumstances, can the disciples try to help the Guru in some way, or that would again be crossing the line or crossing the boundary, considering that he's still the Guru and the person is still the disciple, or the disciple can try to help the Guru in some way?
You mean the disciple is seeing deviations?
Yeah, he's seeing that, his Guru is going off, or something is not okay, and isn't it also important that disciple approaches as well as takes care of the guru if he is going off, or that's not appropriate?
He should make that known to the god brother of his guru, or even we have the GBC. Yeah, the disciple tries to do that, the spiritual master might become even more angry and offended.
Ah.
Yeah, so it should be done by those who are on an equal level or superior, like that.
I was thinking it must be very, very distressing for the disciple when he observes these things, and he may think, oh, if I go and tell his god brother, then it'll be, like breaking confidential information or telling on my guru. How can I do that? Or what should I do? But actually, it is to help the guru. So that is all right if we go and approach a god brother or some seniors who will be able to
Yeah,
help.
it's recommended, but
Okay.
you have to be sure that it's a deviation and not just your speculation.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, got it. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for clarifying all these important points.
Very important points, actually. This verse really brought up a lot of good points. Thank you. Parijata, you're next.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. Maharaj, basically, my two questions were regarding an incident that happened on the day of Rath Yatra here. So, some people were criticizing the devotees, and I had a discussion with them. It was kind of a verbal fight, but I gave them a piece of my mind. And my question was basically about what kind of individuals should be trusted in spiritual life and which kind should be approached with caution. So this was my main concern, because these days, there are people who present themselves as self-made spiritual authorities. And, they say things like, oh, I follow my own path and it's come from God. And, also like tradition limits spirituality, and they resist correction and accountability.
But don't
So
worry
this
about
pick and choose.
these people. You'll never be. They're not coming in disciplic succession. That's the first deviation.
Yes, and what I feel is that charisma may attract, but parampara actually transforms.
Yeah, so therefore
You know,
we have to preach to others just to point out such personalities.
yes, Guru Maharaj. So
Prabhupada you would use examples. Examples, he would say there was one person he would teach Bhagavatam, and he had a large following. But there was something about his teaching that he would say something. I can't remember what Prabhupada said. It was quite clear that this person was saying something different than what Bhagavatam was saying, but using Bhagavatam to say it. So if you don't know, you can easily be fooled,
that's what I was talking about, Maharaj, because many people these days were following some sort of Instagram gurus and all, and I just have to correct them on certain things. So some people were really helped by this. So here what I've understood is that Guru Parampara, or our lineage, it does provide accountability. And
Right.
without it, charisma can easily turn into control, even exploitation and distortion. This is what I told them.
One of the things you have to see is that if senior devotees are not taking association with their god brothers, and then that could be what we say, a sign of wanting to be independent or wanting to do their own thing, or for some reason they want to hide something. We should always be eager to take association with our peers, because peer association keeps you in line. Our
Yes,
senior
Maharaj.
association keeps you in line. One of the things that sometimes causes the disciples to go off, I mean, the guru to go off, is that they don't take association with their god brothers. They're just always surrounded by disciples who are, yes, guru, and they give them garlands, they give them praise, they say, please give us blessings, they give you donations, and you start thinking, yeah, I got it, man. I'm a cool guru. So yeah, that's dangerous unless one takes regular association with peers. It says it should be 60, 20, 20. 60 with peers, 20 with superiors, and 20 with those who are in a lesser position. But we find today, and even I find myself surrounded by people who are disciples all the time. But I always look for opportunities to associate with God brother. When the opportunities come, or I look for the opportunities to take their association. So that will help one from going off or being, what we say, enamored by the eulogies of their disciples. Yeah.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you. This was very helpful. Thanks a lot.
Mhm. Yeah,
Thank you, Parijata.
we just saw one very, very senior sannyasi went off and fell down after more than 50 years, almost 60 years of bhakti. But I know, at least from what I perceive, from what I know, he didn't have much association with his god brothers. If he did, it was hardly any. And if he, yeah, that's a prescription for fall down.
Thank you, Marge. Really powerful point. I hope that helped, Parijata. Really good points. And
Thank you, Mataji.
yes, thank you. Damodar, you're next. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you. Maharaj, I don't know if I heard it right. The first question you were replying, you said that if someone is defeating your guru, then you should go and defeat him. So
Right.
I just had a question that would it be going a step over guru, like, or is it okay?
No, that's mentioned. That's actually mentioned in Shastra. And Prabhupada also mentions you should not let someone, speak and defeat your guru. You should speak up. And that's what Jiva Goswami did when that Digvijaya Pandit came to challenge Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami didn't want to debate with him. And he said, you're very known as a great pundit, therefore I'm coming to challenge you. Rupa Goswami said, all right, well, I don't have time. And he said, all right, if you don't have time, then sign this that I have defeated you. And he did. But when Jiva Goswami found out that his uncle had signed that, he came and he defeated that person. Of course, Rupa Goswami got angry at Jiva for doing that, but still Jiva did the right thing.
All those
Thank you.
beautiful hidden pastimes. Thank you, Marge. Marge, there's a question in the chat, and I'm looking at the time, and we have 7 minutes, so I really want to respect Marge's time. Marge, this is a question from Sakshi. She's asking, did Ramachandra Puri ever realize and admit his mistakes?
You have to do some research and find out what happened to him afterwards, but it says that he just left the association of the devotees. That's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pastime. You have to see, it doesn't give you much detail of what happened after. It says that when he left, all the devotees were happy.
They were all happy. Oh boy. He was a mess, Maharaj.
Well, they were happy by being relieved of his association, which was always critical. Anyone who has a critical mentality, no matter who they are, you don't want to be around that person, even if they're right. They're not right because that's not the mood of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is always, paraduka duki. Vaishnava is always Trinata Pisa Nichena.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hope that helped, Damodar. I mean, so not Damodar, Sakshi. Sorry, that was the next question. I apologize. Thank you. We have about 5 more minutes, Marge. I have a question, Marge, that I wanted to ask is you were mentioning in the within the purport in your class that Krishna killed his own son. Advaita Ācārya had 6 sons, and 3 were devotees, 3 were impersonalists. And then we've also seen how Arjuna fought on the battlefield and had to kill his family. And then, Srila Prabhupada also had children, and not everybody became a devotee. So we see, Marjan, like we were saying, like Advaita Ācārya, a great devotee of the Lord. How did he get 3 sons from impersonalists? So from these situations, Marj, how can we understand that in terms of family attachment, because sometimes I feel in today's time, the family attachments are so tight, that like how can we learn the understanding of family attachment and not get so attached to the point where it's our life and soul? I don't know if I'm making my question clear, Maharaj, but especially within the Indian families, the attachment is so strong.
Yeah, but there is different kinds of attachment. Attachment
Yes,
to
Maharaj.
serving your family members by being an example for Krishna consciousness, or what do you call it? Skin disease. Skin disease.
Maharaj, can you explain that term, Maharaj, please?
Yeah. Oh boy. I'm on a different computer. I don't have my own computer, but on my computer there is that statement there that Prabhupada Prabhupada poses this question about attachment to family members. He calls it skin disease. These are my soldiers. These are my, all in all. The family becomes all in all. But he calls it skin disease. I have a text that illustrates this point really good, but I don't have my computer here.
That's okay, Maharaj, but what you said is true, very powerful. Skin disease. Whoa, Krishna.
Yeah. Because, all right, we might have some affection, attachment to our family members, but it should go beyond just the role of a family member. We should see each of the family members as Krishna's part and parcel. We play our role in the family in the mood of serving the family members by being an example for Krishna consciousness. The family is not Krishna conscious, that's Maya. It's just grihamedi, it's not grihasta.
Thank you, Maharaj. That was really powerful.
Okay, so
Maharaj, yes, we have 2 minutes. I'm going to end the class to respect your time. And thank you so much, Maharaj, for making your time available. Thank you to all the devotees asking amazing, powerful questions. And we wish you all a wonderful day. Vancha krapatibhyascha, kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo namo namaha, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Anasuya. Whenever you're hosting, we have the best discussions.
March is completely by your mercy. Completely, March. Thank you.
I posed that question to some devotees, and they said, Anasuya is the best. And he said, yes. You know why? Because she is very much interested in the philosophy and is eager to learn. So she takes part in it and stimulates discussions based on that. So that's
Maharaj,
that's what they said about you. So anyway, I'm just pushing it along.
Maharaj, completely by the mercy of my spiritual master. Thank you so much, Maharaj. You're making me cry, but thank you so much, Maharaj.
As opposed to some people who are hosts, and all I do is just push the buttons and say, "You're next." We want a host who's got the most.
Purely by the mercy of Bhakti-upadeśa Swami and by you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Please pray, Maharaj, that I can continue serving my spiritual master and please him, because I know that if he is pleased, you please, Krishna is pleased, and everyone is.
I'm happy every time you're hosting because I know at least I'll learn something.
By your mercy, Maharaj. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hari. Okay,
Hari
Srila
Bol,
Prabhupada.
Maharaj.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.